I played the audio from a video that's online that's gone pretty much viral from a gentleman by the name of Frederick Wilson II. And that video and what he said prompted a lot of phone calls, people asking me to play it again, and then asking me to post the video on my website. And since then, you folks have taken the video and posted it all over Facebook because you were that impressed. So that means the natural next step is to just get Mr. Wilson on the phone and say, hello, how are you today? Thanks for coming on.
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Where are you located, by the way? What state are you in?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada.
No, Las Vegas, Nevada. Okay, so it's probably warm where you are right now.
It's a little chilly. I mean, it's
define chilly.
East Coast, obviously, but
define chilly.
Right now, I'd say probably high 50s.
Okay, yeah, you got nothing here. We've been in the negative numbers for about 10 days, and we celebrated because we finally got up to 23 degrees, so I don't want to hear that. All right.
Yeah, well, it's Vegas chilly. It's Vegas chilly.
Yeah, Vegas chilly. We'll go for that. You posted this video before Ferguson, though. That's what you told me on the phone this morning. When did you originally post that video?
I posted it back in August, somewhere around the 27th of August. It wasn't necessarily for Ferguson. It was definitely inspired by Ferguson because I work graveyards at a medical clinic, and so whenever I go out to the lobby, the Ferguson story was dominating the news. So, it was definitely inspired by Ferguson. But the thoughts that I portrayed in the video, something that pretty much been with me since I'd say at least back when I was in junior high. So early 90s.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now you took a point of view which I got to tell you I was impressed in listening to, because as I said, I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but I cut out what I said about you yesterday and then reposted it along with your video and put it up. And I had to confess, when I was talking about Ferguson yesterday, look, I'm an island boy. I mean, I grew up off the west coast of the Everglades, literally in a tropical paradise. So what do I know about neighborhoods like Ferguson? But what I do see is neighborhoods are like this all over the country. It's not just Ferguson, Missouri. And my first question is, and let's see if you can help us out with this, how did these neighborhoods get into the position that they're in today? Do you have any idea?
I mean, there's a lot of, socioeconomic research about this, back in the 20s and 30s when the neighborhoods were set up and things like that. So as far as to say how they got like that specifically, I can't speak on that.
Right.
But what I will speak to is the point of why they're staying like that. Obviously, a lot of it is through the residents that live there. I mean, it's like I said in the video, it's your neighborhood. I mean, sure. Take some pride in it.
Well, it looks like
back your neighborhood.
It looks like something to me that's passed on from one generation to the next with no solution.
Exactly. It's just
it's
a never-ending cycle, and at some point somebody's got to break the cycle.
Yeah, and it seems to me now it's not just in neighborhoods like Ferguson. I see this in neighborhoods all over the country. I mean, being from the South as I am, I can take you to some redneck trailer parks in Alabama that are the exact same situation. And the bad news is passed on from one generation to the next. And until people start coming in and breaking the cycle, which is where I'm not sure how that's done. Personally, I mean, when we spoke this morning, I told you I'm a limited government guy. My opinion, but I'd like to hear what yours is I just saw the government go in and try to fix the situation over the past few decades, and they've done nothing but make it worse. What do you think?
Well, I mean, probably. I mean, they've probably done some harm, done some damage. Depends on your perspective and things like that. Certain programs have probably helped out a little bit. Certain programs have probably done a little bit worse as far as enabling people or setting people up to maybe look for handouts more so than helping themselves. But I mean, it can kind of go both ways, however you want to look at it.
Right. What's the solution here? There's the hard part, because I look at people who are speaking like you're speaking. And there was another gentleman that I played along with your video. In fact, I've got to find it. There was one more gentleman, I think he's from Ferguson, who went and joined the Marines. And when he came back, boy, you want to talk about an impressive young man, and he gave a very similar speech to your speech, and he said it was the Marine Corps that changed his life. Now, I'm not sure what we do here, but where do you begin? Because, again, this problem has been going on for generations. I don't know where to start.
I mean, personally, obviously I don't have all the answers. If I did, I'd be a lot higher paid. But
right. Yeah,
it starts on a personal level. I mean, with when you have children, make sure you raise your children, teach them the right values, give them opportunities, show them something other than the despair that they see around themselves. Like I know, like a lot of kids growing up in the ghettos in the hood like that, It's like, okay, well, if you're not good at sports, if you don't rap, then the next best thing is the drug game.
Right.
But obviously, as we know, usually the drug game ends up in either prison or death. So it's like we gotta give these kids options, viable options. Like it's easy to say, oh yeah, stay in school, go to college. But we have to show them that, okay, first of all, not everybody's going to get a scholarship to college for sports. Right. Getting academic scholarships is pretty tough. So just for the regular kid, that's just an average student, maybe a C plus, B minus student, how are they getting to college? And again, that's a national problem. I mean, I know a lot of things with the student loan debt going on, things like that. And then also, we have to have something beyond that, because it's easy to tell people, oh yeah, go to college. Okay, well, how many kids out there have graduated from college can't find a job?
Well, and on that note, you just mentioned two things. Let me back up so you can talk about these two things, because I talk about this all the time. One is you can go to college, but just a little north of here, I'm in Wyoming, and we have some listeners up in North Dakota. Well, North Dakota is going through a big energy boom right now. They need people like welders and electricians. And those jobs, which are blue-collar jobs, are paying six figures. And they can't find the employees to take the jobs. So rather than go to college, it's less expensive to go to a trade school. You can get out in like a little over a year and then intern with somebody, basically, and there's another word for that. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, you learn the skill on the job. And then you're earning a six-figure income. I would say go that way, but that's the other thing that you hit on, which is who are the role models here?
Well, exactly. Like, I mean, speaking to the black community, I mean, you look on TV, and what are the images that young black children are seeing? Well, they're seeing the rappers. Right. They're seeing the athletes, which most athletes, I memean, notwithstanding what's going on in the NFL right now, but most athletes are, upstanding citizens. But again, not everybody's going to grow up to be LeBron James. I mean, it's, that's a 1 in a 10,000 shot, to be gifted at a sport, something like that. But it's like, yeah, where are the regular jobs, the policemen, the paramedics, the firefighters, the doctors, the lawyers, things that, anybody can really grow up to be, rather than a superstar once in a million shot at, being an entertainer. Yeah, we need more of those role models. And we need because we have plenty of them, but they need to be seen.
Well, I think there's another part of that.
We see the negative images all the time. We need to show the positive images. Yeah. And show these kids, like, this is something you can actually attain. Yeah. You don't have to, be gifted. You don't have to be 1 in a million. Just go out and work hard, do the right things, and you can be this person.
Well, and the next thing is I notice when someone looks toward anybody in the music industry or any celebrity in general, not only is it very tough to get into that position in the first place, most of the people will never make it. I mean, you're talking less than 1% ever even make a living at it, much less get famous. Exactly. But then those people who do get famous, I'm sorry, but a lot of them are not the kind of people that I wouldn't want my kids to watch as role models when you look at their Kim Kardashian-style lifestyles.
Exactly. And, I mean, I'm not sure if your viewer, how many of my videos you've actually seen, but I actually did a video kind of touched on that. And yeah, just because a person's in a prominent position, only thing you know about that person is you can put a name with a face. You don't know what they do behind closed doors. Like, if you're an athlete, the only obligation you have to me is to go out there and entertain me by playing your sport. After that, hey, you're just a normal human being. The only difference between you and me is you have a skill set that pays you millions of dollars, whereas I don't. But yeah, exactly. Like, but that's why they need viable role models. Like, people in their community. It doesn't have to be somebody they see on TV. When they walk out down the street, oh, there's Mr. So-and-so from down the street. He's a successful, this, or, there's Mrs. Such and such. She's successful like that. I can go talk to her, ask her how she got into her field, and, she could be my mentor and just give me some advice. I say, but whatever it is, the kids, they just need to see positive things so that they know, like, no matter where you started in life, there is a way out, and it's attainable.
And you can do that at any age. I've seen people turn their lives around late in life just because they were tired of the mess that was made of their life, and that's something else you get into in your video. I've been saying this since I was in my teens. If your life is constant chaos, quit blaming everybody else. Get control of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we all learned in probably 4th grade math, common denominator. It's every time you turn around, you're in a bad situation. Eventually, you got to realize the common denominator is you, and you got to start evaluating the choices that you're making, where you're going wrong with those choices. You can't, you can't blame everything on everybody else. Oh, it's this person's fault, that person's fault. Eventually, it's your fault.
Right. Right. So what you were doing at the end of the video is another thing that impressed me about it was you were calling on people in those communities, the responsible people, the hardworking people in those communities, and they exist, to finally step up and be a voice in the community. I mean, call out a crime when you see it. You know, I mean, whether it's someone selling drugs or purse snatching for that matter, call those people out and bring some justice back to your community.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate to make this a black issue because again, it's prevalent in any community, but obviously with me being black, it's something I can more speak to that point.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, we have this culture where we view the police as the enemy. Oh, don't snitch, stop telling. So when something does happen, if the police do want to come in the neighborhood and investigate, well what are we going to do? Tell them nothing? No, there's 30 people around, but nobody saw anything. So it's like, what do you expect the police to do? But then when something happens, we're going to call the police, and then, oh, well, they don't help us, they don't do this. Well, you got to help the police. You got to help yourself sometimes.
You brought
that's the thing. If you see something, say something.
Now on that, and I watched that video, the one that I played yesterday. I probably watched it about 10 times yesterday, you know, after I got off the air, because you kept bringing up little points, you know, points within points, if you will. And one of them is, there's a reason, if you could talk about this, there's a reason for police mistrust in neighborhoods like Ferguson. What is that reason?
Well, now a lot of people can make the point that, you know, after slavery was ended and then, you know, before civil rights, black people were painted as, you know, they wanted to paint us as villains and this, that. And that's all fine and dandy. I'm not going to dispute that.
Right.
But the thing about it is, that's the past. We need to talk about the present. When you continually, and it's not everybody, obviously it's not everybody.
Right.
There are millions of black people out there that are great people, great upstanding citizens.
Absolutely.
And there are some out there that, you know, one bad apple spoils a bunch type theory. But when those bad apples continue to mess up, then people get to the point where it's like they just kind of lump everybody together. They see me, they see this person, they see that person. They don't really, you know, they can't really tell the difference. So it's like, okay, we're just going to figure that all of them are criminals, or all of them are on drugs, or all of them are bad. So the ones that are actually perpetuating the negative stereotypes, they're making everybody else look bad.
Yeah.
Like,
now, on that note, when I look at a neighborhood like Ferguson, I was watching the news as violence erupted in Ferguson last night, and one of the police officers, I forget what his rank was, he said that they're arresting the same people for the same crimes over and over again. In other words, someone gets arrested for setting fire to one of the stores, and the next day he's out on bail, and guess what he's doing again? So it tends to be a small group of people in the middle of a community, a very good people. What we need to have, I think, is to have the good people finally step up and take care of the bad eggs in your community.
Exactly. And that's the thing. The people that live in that community, I mean, you know who the guy is that's selling the dope on the corner. You know who the guys, the little hoodlums are that are breaking in the house and doing that. Like, get them out of there. If you're, let's say, if you're not going to do anything, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. If you see the stuff going on and you constantly look the other way, or, oh, that's not my business. Oh, they broke into your car last night. Well, they didn't break into my car. All right, well, eventually they're going to get to your car. And then what's going to happen? You're going to call the police are going to come down, and then nobody saw anything, and it's going to keep continuing. But, yeah, like the people in the neighborhoods, like, you know your neighborhood better than the police do. You know your neighborhood better than, you know, those of us watching around the country. You know, it's your neighborhood. Take control of it.
All right. Well, I really appreciate that you had the guts to say what needed to be said, especially because I got tired maybe on the second day of this of pointing fingers. And I just wanted to start finding a solution for any neighborhood like Ferguson anywhere in the United States. And again, I don't really care what the race is. Like I said, I could take you to, you know, a trailer park somewhere in some southern state and show you a bunch of rednecks acting the same way. So we got to start finding solutions here. There's a lot of screaming and a lot of noise going on and not enough people looking for real solutions out there. So that's why, Frederick, I really appreciated the video that you put out. Even if it came out in advance, it's saying exactly what needs to be said.
All right, well, I appreciate that.